Alrighty, next item up in the shop, the 9.2 Boss V plow. And it did not come in the way that I was expecting. It is now a 12-pin connector. It's supposed to be a 13-pin connector. But one of them broke off on the truck side. Couldn't get it hooked up. Drug it in here with the excavator. And gonna go get a replacement end because I really need it hooked up to my truck to lift it up on the ground so I can put these replacement cutting edges on. Alright, I'm gonna try to do this one-handed. As you can see, we've got our 12-pin and we've got our 13-pin. I got the Boss replacement, so I'm gonna have to cut the wires off. Let's see if I can. Alright, I think I got that clean. Oh, wow. Holy cow. Man, that YouTube magic worked again. I got my camera clean and got the work wrapped up. Win on that one. So now that we got that tidied up, we need to get the truck pulled in here and hook it back up. See if it will operate as it's supposed to then. So then I can lift it up off the ground and get these cutting edges swapped out. And man, let me tell you, I'm really curious to see old cutting edge next to the new, because I knew these were wore out when I got it. I want to make sure the plow would operate under a couple plow events, and it did. It handled well. I didn't have any troubles at all while I was out working. Got a couple things I need to fix. This being one of the main other things other than the edges. Basically, as I start going, this folds back and it just whips over my windshield. The snow and ice, that is. So I need to get that fixed, but I also need to get these on before I destroy the bottom of this plow if I wear it out too far. So we'll get the truck hooked up and see if she works. All right, now we've got them hooked up. I would say this was a pass, except for I forgot the pin was stuck in the truck side. So I ended up having to run a drill bit to open up the back, pulled it out with an O-ring puller. So I've got it out now. Let's see if she works this time. Because before, my inside controls worked, but we worked. The plow side control was not working. Let's see what that looks like. All right, now we are up off the ground. It's exactly what we needed. I don't know if this shows up on camera, but there is not much left before it gets into the plow. Granted, I don't know how much it hurt. This plow's pretty rough, but we're gonna try to protect it best we can. Just like that, they're off. See how hard this cutting edge is. Oh, not hard at all. Boy, that isn't good. Bottom of this plow is gone. Oh, I might have to do something about that. Man, that was worse than I expected. But let's get the other side off before we complain about it too much. is holding that bolt? Alright, I'm gonna grind some more. Alright, so here's where we're at. We've got all the bolts cut out. I ended up having to cut the head back off again to get it to push through that way. And obviously we are extremely rusty down here. Now at some point they've added in a plate here. So I think what I'm going to do is clean up this line where the cutting edge goes to, bolt the new cutting edge onto it, and then put some weld up above it and hope for the best. I mean, as we've already talked about on this plow, I was hoping to just get one good season and kind of get a proof of concept out of it, make sure that it is profitable, make sure that it's a smart move to actually plow during the winter. So I want to get this cutting edge on, and I also want to replace this. Not sure how soon that one's going to happen. We got some snow coming next weekend, so I'm hoping, today's Sunday, hoping I can get to that this week. But we'll see. Most likely we'll make this plow a lot nicer. Sell it next November as the snow starts coming. Hopefully spring or summer we'll buy a new or newer one, as long as we actually make money this winter. If I don't make money, I might just keep this one going. And I don't know, snow is a hard one to plan for. Alright, it is on. I still think I might weld the top just a little extra support, because I know that we've got a solid plate here to weld to. But that's not good. I knew we were leaking somewhere. I saw it seeping, but that was pretty bad. Nothing's binding. The only thing I was worried about is if the cutting edge would be binding in the middle somehow. Now, I'm not sitting on flat ground. The back of the truck is out of the barn. But that's not sitting quite right. I don't know, I probably need to get it pulled on flat ground, have it straight in the barn. Before I make a determination, I might need to loosen it up, make some adjustments. I know obviously as it wears, it'll fix itself. But we don't want to spend the whole first plow leaving a trail of snow. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that cylinder one way or another. I've never rebuilt a cylinder. I've taken them apart. I've never put them back together. But looks like we're gonna have to. So in V shape, does look pretty good. Looks like we have a slight gap. But I think that's acceptable. I think it'll wear down pretty fast at first. Then we'll have to go from there. Well, something I've yet to try to do is unhook it in this form. But I think if I do this, I can unhook my truck. Kids are going to be back soon, and I'm going to be spending the afternoon with them. But I want this to be able to be separated from the truck, still be able to get to this side to weld, possibly work on these, and get in here to work in this cylinder with plenty of room. Now, unfortunately, I think these lights are going to go down, kind of block my way a little bit, but it shouldn't be too terrible. So the biggest thing is I want this out of the way, door closed, and a little bit of heat on. So try to unhook it real fast, see if we can get the truck out of the way, go from there. Alright, so we got our spring off. Obviously we're working on getting this cylinder off. Hopefully we can just replace the seals in it. We might need to replace the whole cylinder if I can't get seals easily and quickly, and if the internals don't look good. I don't know, not a cylinder expert, we'll find out. Need to get the hose disconnected. So this unit only has one hose. It's pressure out and spring force back. Now, something to think about, this cylinder is still full of fluid. I need to get this off and then get the fluid up before I forget. Make a huge mess. Okay, we are 15/16. Heat this one up. See if we can do it without catching the hydraulic fluid on fire. That'd be fun. Maybe it's some pipe won't get it, a grinder will. Well, it's a little warm. Wow. Might want to just replace it, I guess. Oh, there's supposed to be a grease zerk on this somewhere. It should be. Yeah, there actually is. What do we do? I don't want to lay that on there. How about this? Stick her back in for right now. Okay, so I guess figure out how this comes off. I reckon it just threads off, but how you thread it off without tearing it up? So that's our question. Get this rig off, out of our way for now. Set somewhere where it's not gonna make a huge mess. Try that. See if I can clamp this down without getting onto the body. Okay, so the biggest question is the thread back in? I guess the answer is, I don't know. These threads aren't good. Oh, what do I do? I don't know. Oh, well, this is even worth messing with. What I do know is, well, that's time for today. I'm going to pick back up on this tomorrow. I'll do some research tonight, see how much some of these parts cost to rebuild it versus, of course, my hand wipes are frozen. Why wouldn't they be? It's 15 degrees out. But we'll see. These threads aren't great. I don't know if I can replace this. Cost effective. These ones don't look horrible, but we'll have to see what we can come up with. Like I said, out of time for today. Pick back up probably some point tomorrow. Turn our heat off and go from there. Continue working on the old hunk of junk. Alright guys, so a little update on the cylinder. Boss wants, well, there's a serial number break. I didn't have the serial number with me. I see it now. Basically, the older model was 400 and change on the cylinder. The newer model was like 575. Obviously, if we had a snowplow tomorrow, I have to get it. It is what it is. But we don't. We've got some time. So I took apart, obviously, the cylinder, took it to the hydraulic shop. My biggest concern were the threads. Can the threads be repaired? If so, what kind of cost are we looking at? So basically, they told me they can get replacement cylinders. He was pretty confident that he could get a replacement cylinder cheaper than he could repair the threads and sell the new O-rings and rebuild parts. So we've got one coming, $130. $130 plus freight and tax. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe $175, $200. But long story short, they said they thought they would at least have 2 hours in cleaning out the threads, rechasing them. I don't know, it seems a little high on the time, but I get it. But they're $125 an hour, so $250 just for cleaning up threads. So obviously the smarter choice is buy a new cylinder. So that leaves us with doing what we can do to wrap up this part of the project. I do think it's going to be wise. I might just put some stitch weld on the top, and by no means am I a welder. I can make two pieces of steel stick together. That's kind of the extent of it. But we're going to put a little bit of weld on it and possibly get this pulled out of the shop so I can get another project in here while I'm waiting on a cylinder. But we'll see where it takes us. Alright guys, don't look at my welds. They look really bad. I got like, I don't know, maybe one halfway decent weld on each one. But I'm not a good welder. And I'm going from really thick steel to very thin, rusty steel. I'm not too bad at welding similar metals. I do tubing right onto a plate, no problem. But biggest concern that I had, the reason I even welded it, is because obviously it's much taller than the wore out edges, and I'm just worried about that extra stress, the leverage that it'll have. Let's say there's one road that we have that has a pothole that sticks out 4 inches, or not a pothole, a manhole cover, and I'm worried about clipping something like that and just the extra leverage breaking off the bottom of the plow. Like I've already said, we need this to last the rest of the winter. I'll probably be selling it next winter. It'll be perfect for somebody that's just clearing a farm lane, something that's not time sensitive or crazy pressure on getting it done. But that's where we're at. So we're gonna pause this one for now. Come back to it later this week when we get the cylinder in. I think for now, I'm gonna pull the skid steer in next, start getting some work done to it. The only trouble is it is not here. I was hauling some dirt a week ago, last week, and basically just left the machine there. So I gotta go pick it up, retrieve it, bring it back here, and start working on it. Boy, oh boy, it has been a week. So I got all of this apart on Saturday. It is now Friday, the following Friday. Monday morning I took the cylinder to the shop and basically said, I need to see about getting these threads repaired, blah, blah, blah. Well, long story short, they recommended I just replace it. They said that they could get a replacement matched up to the specs for quite a bit cheaper. Long story short, they ordered one Monday. I called in Wednesday. I'm like, hey, I told you guys that I need this plow back in service Thursday. We've got some snow coming potentially. I need this cylinder. And they called their vendor. Vendor said, long story short, we don't have it. Or we have it. We haven't been able to get it out to you, blah, blah, blah. So they ordered another one. I called a couple hours later for an update. And I'm like, hey, I need to know the tracking. I need to know where this thing's at, how soon I'm going to have it. And at that point, I didn't know this, but they ordered a third one as well. The second one and the third one were both overnight air to have them by Thursday, basically thinking last resort they would be here Friday because they know that the snow's coming down Saturday. I could get it back together. Whatever. They did what they could. go in there today. It's now Friday. I go in about 11 o'clock or so, and I'm like, hey, I need this cylinder now. And they don't have it. UPS truck was pulling in as I got there. They ran out to the truck, wasn't on the truck, called both vendors, they don't have them. So they stuck mine in the lathe, cleaned everything up, and we are hopefully going to be back in service here in a minute. They didn't charge me a dime for it, which is insane. But, you know, I told them I'm an honorable person. I'll be in. Obviously, I could pay for this. If you want me to pay for it, they said, no, don't worry about it. It's our mistake. So, hopefully Monday, if not Tuesday, the other two show up. And I'm just going to go buy both of them because they took care of me, so I want to take care of them. I don't want them to end up at a loss from it. But that'll leave me with two on the shelf for if either the one that I just rebuilt or the other one goes bad, I've got one to put on it. Man, you guys really have to hang on better than that. Got it hooked up to the truck, had to add some fluid to even be able to hook it up. But I guess I probably need to set it back down. Gotta bolt the cylinder on and then retract it, and then I can put my spring back on. Alright guys, that's a wrap on this video. It's back in service, hopefully in much better condition. A couple things I've got left. I need to put together some supplies, some extra fluid, funnel, wrenches. I bought some extra bolts for the cylinders. I'm not as fearful on the driver's side, but I like to have some extras for the passenger side. Got the cutting edge on. I'm going to take it to a couple different places, set it down on the road, and make sure everything matches up okay. Just kind of worried because obviously now it's going to sit a couple inches higher because of how worn down the last one was. But that's a wrap on this video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your subscription. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like the video, comment on it, and catch us on the next one. Oh boy guys, so it is currently February 17th. It was 3 weeks ago that we had the big snowstorm, and I will say this unit held up pretty well. I've yet to even have time to clean it off. I kind of just dumped it. I actually had a huge snow pile sitting here. I ended up moving it over there, but it held up great. No issues out of it. I did have the cylinder that was rebuilt. We had quite a bit of fluid coming out of it, but never had to add any fluid. So the week that all this was recorded was the week leading up to the big storm we had. We ended up getting, I think, 13 inches between Saturday morning and Sunday night. About a 48-hour period, 13 inches. It was quite a bit. So we ended up getting dispatched to go out on Sunday morning. We left out about 6 a.m. We ended up getting home at midnight, Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever you consider it. And then back out at 8 a.m. Monday morning and got back in 8 p.m. Monday evening. So we were at 18 hours, back for about 8, extended nap, got back up, got ready, and back out for another 12. So we had 30 hours in by the time Monday was over. Quite a bit of a haul, but held up great. Very happy with everything. And I've even got 2 brand new cylinders ready to go. Have not had time to touch them, haven't even had time to clean the plow off. But I've got the cylinders, Need to get them put on. I believe I'm going to need some adapters for the hydraulic line. I think it's a different thread. The new ones are actually slightly smaller thread size than the existing ones. Could be wrong. I don't know. The looks are deceiving, but we'll get it taken off here. I don't know, maybe in a month or so. I'll have some time. Right now, working on a bathroom remodel at my own house, and as soon as I'm done with that, it should be drying up out. I've still got a little bit of snow left to melt. That pile looks like it's all stone, but it's mostly snow. Gonna be hitting it hard as soon as it gets warmed up, dried out. Got a bunch of projects, but they're all waiting on dry weather. So not sure if so this video will air the 20th. Hopefully the 27th I've got another video for you. I'm not positive. I know. So this week I'll be working on the bathroom. Next week, Monday, I'll most likely be out on the job site. Tuesday and Wednesday, I've got to go to the state septic conference. Thursday, Friday, it's calling for rain. So not sure what I'm going to be doing. Not sure what the next video is going to be. I've got about 3 different projects that I need to get started on. Don't know which one's going to come first. Mainly depends on the weather. But I've got some exciting news. The excavator is currently at the dealership right now. Should be picking it up Thursday, I believe, if I don't have time tomorrow. Get it picked up and show some cool new features that I've got put on it. Really excited about it. I think it's going to be a big change for the year, and you'll see that on a future video. As always, subscribe, like the videos, comment. I appreciate it all. Catch you on the next one.